Hello everyone, I'm here on my Facebook page, which I don't actually go live very frequently on. That might be changing. I got really inspired this morning and thinking of the question, how can I serve humanity right now in this time and space? And what came to me was to share my meditation book that I've got copies sitting on my shelf. If anyone is interested, I can send you one for $10. But anyways, I thought, why not share one of my hearts a day for the next 20 days? Synchronizes up the rest of the month perfectly. Starts on the 1111 portal. And it's a portal to our heart, to our heart space, to our ability to love ourselves, and that corresponds our ability to love one another. So this is a lot about inner work, but because I believe that we are all connected, when we do inner work, it actually is reflected in our outer circumstances and manifestations. So this is a time to look inward, not necessarily at how everybody else is responding, how everybody else is doing, but this is for you to consider how you're feeling, what your thoughts and beliefs might be, and what might help you as a next step on your journey. So I want to read a little excerpt of how this book had first come to me and what this first picture kind of represents. So there's a blue light figure, and then there's a yellow light figure, and there's a purple background. We're going to hear a little bit of Thomas in the background here. And this is about unity consciousness in a nutshell. What does it mean to be unified? It actually means that the finite aspects and the infinite aspects of our human existence are working together, understanding duality in a non-dual fashion. So I'm going to read this little excerpt from the beginning, and then I'll dive into part one. Through this amazing process of creating this book, I have come to glean one foundation of conscious community is recognizing and nurturing the divine dance between the finite and infinite aspects within ourselves. Along with each heart image flowed a written description that helped me comprehend and begin to integrate into my body the expansive, unified perspective. From a space of individual peace can flow a playful collective oneness in which all humanity enjoys authentic connection and magnificent feats of co-creation. I believe the truths represented in this book are merely a few of the infinite resources available to guide us as we shift to the vibrational frequency of this most beautiful, interconnected realm. So, yes, keeping it in a humble perspective, this is just one message, one perspective. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I definitely feel like the people that are meant to hear will hear and will really benefit from what is shared. Okay, so part one. So in the actual book, I have the picture, and then I have some journal prompts and the excerpt. I'm going to actually hold up the original. Here's the original. It's called Present Journey. And as you see on the one side, there's smooth sailing with the yellow light being, and on the other side you have a wreckage and the blue being really in a state of despair. So this definitely speaks to the two different circumstances that we often experience in life, which is feeling or experiencing victimhood and also empowered sovereign state. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the excerpt. Here you are, right now, cruising safely through the present moment. You are also on a unique journey which links many beyond time moments together. Your journey could never be linear as an intertwined, compounding cycle of perception. You take snapshots as you choose perceptions, create a story vehicle, and ride that vehicle as a present moment's identity. This conscious vehicle can and will change as your perceptions shift. You simply add, remove, reposition, and resize the snapshot moments of life. You are capable of viewing past experiences, the present moment, and future opportunities in a unifying, limit-defying light. Your present journey is to discern and appreciate whichever self-created vehicle is transporting you. In awareness, you can recreate infinite story vehicles to suit the type of identity ride you are craving. So as you see there, the unified perspective is that these are rides, these are experiences, and we create the ride and experience, take a snapshot of it that we want for that time being. And then we're able to shift back and forth at will anytime. So think about that, how that might resonate. And there are some journal prompts. I will actually post these in the comments with the picture and with the excerpt so you can kind of dive into it a little bit more. But here are the journal prompts. Number 1, I would describe my current personality as, fill in the blank. Number 2, I feel most empowered and safe when. Number 3, I feel most helpless and scared when. And then number 4, which idea from this meditation will stay with me today? All right, I'm going to hold it up one more time. This is Present Journey, the first meditation of my Heart Work Meditations on Conscious Community. And it really sets the stage for the rest of the book. I put these in a very synchronized order, and this really sets the stage of how we can go from victim mentality to an empowered state, and we are completely the ones who choose the experience. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. I think I'm going to go at 11:12 tomorrow, and then 11:13, 11:14. I think I'm going to synchronize it just for fun with the time of every day. So if you're not with me live, catch the replay. Love you guys. Hi everyone, Autumn here. Happy Tuesday. It's November 12th. I'm going live at 11:12 Central Standard Time. So yesterday I went live for the first time to share an excerpt from my self-published book, which I self-published back in November 2019. So it's not something new. And actually when these ideas came to me in 2018 and 2019, it really unraveled a lot of my own life and my own understanding. So it's definitely something that's a little mind-bending, mind-boggling perhaps for some of us, and I respect that. And I can't say that it never boggles me. So one thing about being a channel, being open to information from other realms, you just kind of let it flow and understand it later and process it later. So that was definitely what I was doing at this time. But the more that I remember and focus on these themes, the more I feel aligned with how the energetics of the new world can work, and the understanding and the openness, the spaciousness of love to include perspectives and to learn from one another more than separate and divide, because it is the diversity of our human existence that actually helps us thrive. It is not a solo mind or a solo way of being. And maybe we don't always appreciate that or understand that, but it's actually the mirror of others that help us see into ourselves, help us transcend things, I like the word activate things within us that might not be activated unless we had that mirror come forward to show us something in our subconscious that we just are not aware of. So this has been kind of the inner work that I've done since 2012 with having a son with autism and the trajectory that put my life on, because I realized the paradigms of the world weren't really supportive of my son's uniqueness. And I decided that I would be supportive. I would learn. I would connect with a neurodiverse person in a very personable, respectful way and allow them to teach me and enlighten me. And that's made all the difference. So a lot of my understanding of life is because of my son. And if you don't have the gift of a neurodivergent person in your life, it may be harder to grasp some of these ideas. Like I said to you, they're only ideas. They're for you to resonate with or not resonate with, whatever. Whatever speaks to you, that's what I want. I totally honor sovereignty. And also, if you have something that comes to you and you want to share in the comments, my page is always an open space for respectful comments. You don't have to agree with me. In fact, I would be surprised if all my friends agree with me, because I tend to gather a diverse community, and that's my gift. So definitely feel free to say something if you want to say something, because right now I think the energy of being able to speak out your values is entirely important and very healing. Okay, so number 2, the heart work of number 2, and I'll show you the original, is one duality. So there's a heart with the 2 light beings. I didn't explain this before, but the yellow one's name is Blaze and the blue one is Orion. And here we have a heart with water and fire. So there's 2 elements that we know in the 3D world they don't mix, right? If you add fire and water, it just extinguishes the fire. But in this description, they are surviving together. So we're going to see that contrast going on, and you see the hand holding at the top, right? These extremely diverse elements holding hands. All right, I'll read it to you. There exists a place where all that appears opposite coexists naturally and cooperatively. If we can see through the layers of separation, we will see a deeper oneness as the foundation. When you fully allow the experience of intense emotion to reveal its counterpart within you, the totality will create more space to transcend the constraints of duality and begin to dissolve the emotional glue that binds you to a more narrow experience of love. In an expansive experience of love, you will gladly welcome all parts of your tender soul and delight drowning every circumstance with the fire to either refine or fuel your development. So when I was writing this book, channeling it, the idea came to me that everything is love. We just have either a narrow experience or a more expansive experience. So a distortion of love or a more liberating, true experience of love. And that is depicted pretty much in this piece of artwork, where we could see the fire as maybe those activations, those times that are distorted. We're not at the calm peace of water. We're feeling rage. We're feeling depression. We're feeling something intensely. It's an intense emotion with the fire. And the water is more of that calming, soothing reminder that it's all going to be okay, that it all works together, that there is common ground at the core. And I think that's something that came to me a lot with doing parts work. And then I also, soon after I wrote this book, I was introduced to the Gene Keys, if you guys are familiar with that, with Richard Rudd. And it really related to me with like the shadow, the gift, and the city being the whole stepping back picture. He describes our genetic evolution in those components. And you can't just skip over the shadow. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to ignore that and go right to my gifts and my expanded view and ignore the distortions. Sometimes we really have to dive in. We have to feel them. We have to learn from them. That's why we're here a lot, is for that shadowy work. So for myself, when this comes back down to like a personal level, this is what happens in me when I hold space for my own intense emotions, when I own them before I project them and say someone else is responsible for me feeling this way. I actually recognize that if a chord was struck in my system, it is mine. It is mine to own. It is mine to learn from, to work with. It's not a bad thing. It's not like they had to not do their behavior or something because this is what happened with me. It's actually a positive thing because something got unleashed within me that was maybe suppressed, buried, needed to be seen. Something was unconscious. So I actually see activations and triggers in a very positive light because I use them for my self-awareness development. So in this case, you know, the light and the dark working together is how we evolve. And if we can do that, first of all, within our own energetic space, then we can help others do it outside of our energetic space. Because how could we ever help someone achieve something we ourselves aren't capable of? I think of this a lot with my parenting. There were times when my daughter was in intense emotional meltdown about something. And if I didn't stay that peaceful, calm water, I wouldn't have been able to connect with her and help her downgrade from her activation. And of course, I learned that by trial and error because as parents, we all co-regulate and get activated with the child, right? And then we're like, wait a minute, maybe I could do that differently next time. So I learned, right? It's a process of learning to be with yourself in all your emotions, and the ability that you can hold space for your own emotions will be reflected in how you can hold space for someone else who you might not understand why they're feeling the way they do, but you know you've had all those emotions before for other reasons maybe. You know, there's a million reasons why we get activated in our world. And if you can just remember, I felt helpless before, or I felt, forgotten, or I felt like my life didn't matter. You know, if you've been there and you've gone through it, you have something to offer someone else. And sometimes it's not wisdom, it's actually compassion. It's just a space of compassion and of listening, because being a space for the opposite energy sometimes is all it needs. That's all it needs. And then we can work together in beautiful ways. So, hope you enjoyed this heart work, and I will read the reflection questions, and I will also post the picture and these questions below if you want to dive in deeper on your own. Number 1, I've recently experienced contrast in my world through. Number 2, I've recently experienced oneness in my world through. 3, the opposing themes of life I find most difficult to reconcile are. And which idea from this meditation will stay with me today? All right. Love you much. Hello, everyone. Autumn here. I'm excited to go live again today, a little earlier than I had hoped for, but it fits right in with this message that I'm going to read today, an excerpt from my own self-published book, Heartwork Meditations on Conscious Community. And that message is to really take care of your body and yourself. And so it serves me and my body much better to go live now earlier than later. So I'm going to do that. I want to preface this again with just reminding anyone that these are kind of ideas and higher dimension visions that came to me back in 2018, 2019, that I channeled and created a book, and it is available on Amazon. I also have some copies on my shelf I can send you for $10. And the idea is that all of the images are a heart that have some kind of duality represented, where there's a blending and there's a working together and a co-creation of the two different elements. And we could see these in very many different ways. We could see it as shadow and light. We could see it as unconscious and conscious. In the book, I describe it as finite and infinite, so things that have limits and things that don't have limits. And the idea is that love is really the blending. It is the higher dimensional understanding that we are all one. Everything that looks contrary is actually stemming from the same source, the same essence. And so that helps us bring back kind of like the commonality between things, that when they feel like they're polar extremes, we can question that. Are they really, or is that the perception of this three-dimensional reality? And that's not the only dimension we have to live in anymore. So I already have done Heart 1 and Heart 2, and we're going to go ahead and do Heart 3 today, which is entitled Variable Balance. Now, I actually don't have the original because I sent it to a friend. When I was creating these images, I didn't necessarily know I was going to write a book. So I felt really compelled to send this to a friend of mine who actually taught me this exact concept, and I'll share it in a moment. But the image is a tree, and the yellow light figure named Blaze is climbing the tree and active, and the blue light figure named Orion is resting at the bottom. And so I actually sent this artwork to a fitness coach who was the head of the fitness department when I was weight training. And he wasn't actually my coach, but he was like the head coach of everybody. And he really taught everyone who he instructed, and we had some interactions, that it was important to take rest days, and that it was important not to overexert yourself, and that we should work out smarter instead of longer and harder. And that stuck with me. Those were like seeds that were planted, that it wasn't just about the body. It was actually about a lifestyle, a practice of times that are very active and times that are more restful. And I think too, we also can see it like masculine energy and feminine energy. That might come through with this book a lot too, with the blue being more feminine and the yellow being more masculine in nature. Our masculine energy is to do, right? To go, to initiate, to really expend energy. And the feminine is to receive and to rest and to nurture. And so since we are a mixture of both those energies, believe it or not, we really are. The soul is not a gender. We go through periods that we ebb and flow, where we are more active and really creating things and in the groove, right? Or in the zone. And then we go through times where we're needing to rest, and maybe we're even burnt out and worn out. And the feminine is really needing some time to nurture. So I'm going to read to you Variable Balance. There are ways of being in the world. There are many ways of being in the world, and all ways serve a purpose in strengthening and stretching you. The times of internal renewal are necessary for outward expression. The times of outward expression are necessary for internal renewal. All souls have their own unique ways of discovering and nurturing balance. All souls courageously explore and evolve as they journey toward greater self-discovery and expression. When you practice that which resonates with your truth, you bring balance to your heart and also to the heart of the whole. Balance correlates to the experiences of ease, unity, and the most magnificent of co-creations. Okay, so I love the idea that because we ebb and flow between these two, we can be compassionate towards ourselves, understanding it's just a way we show up in the world, right? That's the higher dimensional. There are different ways you show up in the world. This is your light. This is how it's being expressed in these different ways. And, if you were to always be one or always be the other, you would miss out on the benefits and how they relate to each other, because it is during those, let's say, the more calm times, you receive the inspiration and the ideas, but then to put into action in the more active times of your life. And it's in the active times that you really benefit greatly from taking a step back and a breath, and you feel the rejuvenation energy of just celebrating what you've accomplished, right? You've got to step back and stop doing it so you can actually see it. So there's reasons why human beings sleep 8 or more hours a day. There's reasons why full-time hardcore physical jobs don't work very well with our bodies, especially anymore as we've been evolving and changing. I know I've been really more gentle on myself when I need an afternoon nap. When my son wakes up early, like today at 5 a.m., I'm like, okay, it's going to be an afternoon nap day, and that's okay. And in the past, I would think, oh, how do I stop this? Let me go get some coffee or something to not sleep again. But now I realize, no, your body is needing rest, and rest is just as important as anything else that you could be doing today. And sometimes more important. So this is permission for you. I think we all often need more permission to rest than to be active. But also, there are times when you're really inspired to go, go, go. And, sometimes others are saying, whoa, you need to slow down. But you intuitively don't feel like you need to. So, like the bottom says, practice what resonates with your truth. If you're in a go, go, go active mode, the best thing for your energy is to be expended. Because think what happens when you're not expending it and you want to. You're sitting there restless, and it's like torture to sit still. You don't want that to be your experience. So pay attention to where you're guided to expend your energy, and know that you are the sovereign controller. You are the one that gets to decide how you show up in this world, how you work, how you play, who you interact with, for how long, all of that. And we can all be supportive to each other's thresholds, to each other's limits, to each other's preferences. Nobody has to be just like us in how they show up or express themselves. And that's the beauty of unity consciousness. Unity consciousness recognizes that there is an array, there's a spectrum of the fractals, and that each one of them shine brightly and bring a different glistening glow to the whole, and they're all vital. They're all important. They all matter. So, reminder that you matter, you're beautiful, and love you much. So head on over to Amazon. If this content interests you, the link is available in the details of this video, and you can get a hard copy like this. You can also get a Kindle version.